Hey guys, welcome back to the third and the final video tutorial of this particular series of the Android SQLite integration in your Android application. So make sure you have seen the previous two tutorials where I have initiated the initial setup of the SQLite database for your Android application. Then I have discussed about the dialog fragment, that how you can display this kind of a form to the particular user, how you will define the dialog fragment class or the new class which will extend the dialog fragment, which will handle the activity of the user on this kind of a form, and how it will take the data from this particular form without moving from the activity. So make sure you will see that particular videos first, and then after, in this video tutorial, I am again talk about these all the things, and I will show you that how you can update the student information, how you will delete the student information from the SQLite database, and how you will list out all the information, that the information stored in the SQLite database to the particular activity. So this is what that we have seen in the last video tutorial. The add student form is over here, and the add student dialog java, which is the dialog fragment class, which will display this particular form to the user when the user will click on the add student button. And this is what the procedure that we have displayed this particular dialog over here on the add student button click listener. We have created the instance of that particular class, and we have displayed that particular dialog to the user, and that will display that particular form. And with the help of a single interface implementation, we have handled the on click event of that particular form. Okay, so what will happen when the user will add the student information to the database? So that is what the add student, and the same procedure that we have to also implement for the update student information and for the delete student information. The two forms for updating the student information is over here. So it will just take the ID, enrollment number, name, phone number as the particular information about the student. So it will mainly take the ID to get the reference in the SQLite database, and it will update the student information. So with this kind of a form, we require again the update student info.java class, which extend the dialog fragment over here, and which also contain, it is same as the add student dialog. So we have to define this particular class. In that particular class, you have to define the particular interface, that is what the update student dialog listener interface is over there. In that particular interface, you have to define a method on update button click, which will handle the update button click listener over here. And whichever class is displaying that particular dialog, means whichever class is displaying this dialog, it should also override, or it should also give the implementation of this particular method. That is what you have to make sure by implementing the code in the on attached method. Okay, so here is the code for that one. The instance of the on student dialog listener, update student dialog listener, is created over here, and that particular instance is used over here for the activity. And if the implementation is not done inside of the activity, then it will just throw the new exceptions that the particular activity class must implement the update student dialog listener. So that is what the thing. So what will happen when we will create this particular dialog? So on create dialog, we have to just display this particular layout to the particular user. So we will get the layout inflator over here, and we will get the XML from the layout directly. So it will display that particular form to the user, and the on set positive button, we will display the text, that is what the update. We will call this particular listener method, the update student listener dot on update button click. It will pass on this particular instance of this particular dialog fragment. So this is what the procedure that you have to do. And the on cancel button, it will just dismiss this particular dialog. And the same implementation that you have to do over there in the main activity class, that on the update information click, you have to display this particular dialog. The update student info dialog will be displayed to the user, and the implementation of that particular method, the update student info, the method that we have defined over here, the on update button click, that will be defined over here. On save button click is there, and on the update button click, what will happen, we will fetch the information that the user has inputted in that one. We will fetch the id, we will fetch the enrollment number, we will fetch the name of the student, we will fetch the phone number of the student. After the validation, if all the validation are perfect, then we will just pass on this particular information into the particular database handler class. So what the DB handler will do, okay, so in the DB handler we have to implement so let's open the DB handler first. So we will go for that one. That is what the DBHandler.java is over here. So in this particular class, what we have to define, we have to define a one particular on update method is there. Okay, so we have to define the public boolean update student information. I have set the return parameter as the boolean because the whatever it has updated the value or it has not updated the value, that value will be written in the format of the true and false respectively. So the on update student info method will retrieve the four information or the four properties. That is what the ID of the student, the new enrollment number, new name, and the new phone number, the updated phone number that will be passed over here. It will get the student SQLite database instance over here. It will create the again the content values with the new values, and it will just fire the queries. That is what the db.update query will be fired on the particular table student details. It will set the argument, set the parameter, whatever the argument that we have used over here, and for the where condition, that the where this updation will be happen. So for that one we will define the key id plus equal to update id. So whatever update id we will retrieve over here, it will check that entry into the SQLite database table, and it will update that student details respectively with the this particular details, the new details, if we have to change that particular details. So it will update that particular information, and it will return the value from over here. If the updation is successful, then it will return the true, or if the updation is unsuccessful, then it will return the false over there. So this way it will do this particular procedure. So if the updation of this particular student detail is get confirmed, then it will display that particular method. Okay, so if the update check will get the particular true value that the student information is updated successfully, then it will give the message that the student details are updated, or you can also print the message that the details are not updated very much well. Okay, so that is what the updation procedure, the same procedure that you have to follow with the help of for the delete student information. So this is what the layout for the form of the delete student that you will display as a dialog to the user. You will just get the id number of the student of which the entry of which student that you have to delete from that particular database table. So in the delete student dialog, you have to create one separate dialog which extend the dialog fragment, the same as the two fragment that we have created before, the add student dialog and the update student info.java. Over here the same procedure that you have to follow. You have to create an on attach method, you have to create the on create dialog, and you have to create an interface for handling the button click event. So those things you have to implement on your own by referring the previous two classes. And now in the main activity, what will happen when the button delete student will be get clicked. So on clicking on the delete student info, we have to just display this particular dialog to the user. The student will input the particular id of the student. That particular entry we have to delete from the database. So the implementation that we have to do the method about the interface, that is the method is this one, the on delete button click. So it will take the id from the user. So it will take the id from the form of that one. It will check the id over here, and it will give the proper id. If the id is proper, then we have to delete this particular entry from the user, from the database. So for that we will just pass on this particular, we will pass on this we will call this particular method with the past id number. to this particular dialog. So we will pass on this method, we will call this particular method delete student and the id of that particular student of which entry we have to delete from the database. So in the DBHandler class we have to display one particular method with the name of the delete student. So that method is over here. So this is what a small method is there. It will take the id as the parameter, whatever id that we will pass from the particular main activity. So it will be get caught over here, and we will get the student SQLite database instance over here, and we will just call this particular method that the db.delete table. From this particular table we have to delete that entry where. So for that we will just put the parameter the key underscore id equal to the delete id, the id that the user has selected. So it will call this particular method, it will fire this query, and it will delete the entry from the database. So this is what you can do for the deleting the entry of that particular student. Now the main thing that how we will retrieve all the information about the SQLite database, that all the entries of the student in your main activity. So for that you have to create a particular method, that is what on the show detail button is there, what will happen on that one. So that is what the information that displayed over here on the button show detail. When the user will click on that one, we does not have to display any dialog over here, we have to just retrieve the information from the database. So for that I am going to display that that all the list of the student into the one particular text view. So the text view instance is taken over here. So methods are defined over there. The set movement method is equal to arrow key movement method dot get instance. So arrow can be movemently easily, and the TV student info set text equal to null. It will clear the text area of that particular uh, text view. Some padding information is set. Now the list of the student equal to student list equal to db.get all student list. This is what the method which is performing on the database and retrieving me the list of the student object. Okay, so that is what the method that we have to define in the on DBHandler class. So this is what the method in the DBHandler class that you have to implement. So the method is look like this one, the public list, it will return the list of the student. So that is what the return type of this particular method, and the name of the get student list. So first of all define a one particular instance of the student list, that is what the list student list, the list that we are going to return from over this particular method. One particular string for the query that select star from the particular table. So it will get all the information over here. Then we will take the database db equal to get the writable database, cursor will be at the db dot row query, select query, and the null. So it will pass or it will execute this particular query on the particular database, and it will put the cursor on the beginning of the first row from where the particular data is started, for where the entry it will find in the particular database table. So here it is the iteration loop, how we will put the information about the student into the particular list of the students. So this is what the method, if the cursor dot move to first, that is what the cursor is moved to the first column, we will create a new student instance. We will get the student dot set id, that is what we have to set the id of this particular instance. So set id integer dot parse integer cursor dot get string 0. So it will take the 0th column and it will get the string from over here, that is what the id, with the help of the cursor instance we can get the particular id. We will parse it to the integer and we will set the id of this particular student instance. So this way we will convert, we will get the enrollment number information from the column 1, the name from the column 2, and the phone number from the column 3, and we will set the different parameters values of this particular student instance. Now we have to add this particular student instance to the list of the student. So that is what the student list dot add the name of the instance of the students. So this way the students will be added to that particular list of the student instance, and this loop will be iterated until the cursor dot move to the next will perform all the iteration. So here the cursor will be moved to the first row of this particular table, and here until and unless the cursor is having the next entries in the particular table, it will create the student instance. It will take the information and it will put that particular object into the list of the student. So the student list will be created over here, and after completing this both of the loop, we have to just return with this particular value of the list of the students. So we will return the student list over from over here, and where it will be retrieved, it will be retrieved in the main activity dot java file over here. That is what the student list. Now we have to display this particular information in the text view. So for that we will iterate a for loop. That is what the for loop for student std gem the student list. So that is what the for all instance of the student class of the, this is what the object it is defined with the std. For all instance of the student class in the student list, we are going to create a string. That is what the student detail equal to id std dot get id std dot get enrollment number, get name, and the last one is the get phone number. And it will create a particular string with the help of the slash n and the slash t, and it will append this particular string to the text view. So that is what the TV student text view student info dot append slash n and the std details. So whatever number of entries or whatever number of objects are present in that particular student list, it will take the details or it will create the string of that particular student object, and it will append the information into the that particular text view. So this is how the things will work. Okay, so if you want to just, so this is how all the procedures will be happen. So in this particular video tutorial I have described that how you can define the another two forms for the update student information and the delete student information from in your Android application, and the another one that how you will retrieve all the information from the SQLite database that will display the all the information to that particular all the information about the stored student list. So this is what about all of this is what about all this particular thing, that how you will handle the SQLite database for your entries of your data. So thanks for watching this video, and make sure you will watch the next video in which I will show you the execution of this particular whole practical into the emulator, that how these things are working in the emulator, that I will show into the next small video. So thanks for watching this series of the Android series of watching these video tutorials, that how you will use the SQLite database in your Android application. And please subscribe to my channel, and make sure you will come again and see the next and make sure you will come again and see the another video tutorials of the Android application development. Thank you.